Hey everyone, and welcome. So, whether you're a student buried in textbooks or you're out there on a construction site, you know that understanding how to measure and control project performance, well, that's what separates a good project from a truly great one. Today, we're going to break down a blueprint for success that honestly anyone can use. Let's jump right in. We've all heard the horror stories, right? Maybe you've even lived through one. A project kicks out with all this excitement, but then it just gets completely tangled in delays and costs that are just spiraling out of control. It is a massive headache. So the big question is, how do you stop your project from becoming just another one of those statistics? That's exactly what we're going to figure out today. Okay, first things first, we have to build a solid foundation for this whole conversation. Let's get super clear on what project performance actually means, especially when we're talking about a complex construction job. In the simplest terms, project performance is really just the ultimate progress report. It's not about how busy you are, it's about how effectively you're moving toward your goals. Are you actually on track? And, most importantly, is the project delivering the value it was supposed to in the first place? Really, performance boils down to these three pillars. You might have heard them called the triple constraints. You're basically in a constant juggling act between the clock, the wallet, and the quality of the work itself. For a construction project, this is everything. It means pouring that foundation on time, not blowing the budget on materials, and making absolutely sure the structure meets every single specification. If you can get these three right, you are golden. But here's the thing. You can't manage what you don't measure. So how do we turn all this project progress into cold, hard data that we can actually use? Well, there's a pretty brilliant technique for this. It's called Earned Value Management, or EVM. Now, don't let the name scare you off. This isn't just some abstract jargon. It's a seriously powerful method that gives you an honest, data-driven look at your project. It does that by comparing what you planned to do with what you've actually accomplished. And its real power? It's not just reactive, it's predictive. It can actually help you forecast where your project is headed. So let's translate this from theory into something real. Imagine you're on a job you plan to complete a building's foundation in 1 month for $50,000. That's your planned value, or PV. But at the end of the month, you only got 80% of it done. So the value of the work you actually completed is $40,000. That's your earned value, or EV. Now here's the kicker. You actually spent $60,000 to get there. That's your actual cost, or AC. See? The numbers don't lie. They tell you you're behind schedule and you're over budget. It's right there in the data. And this chart just tells that exact story in a single glance. Look at that first bar. That's your planned value. That's where you should be. The second bar, your earned value, is lower. That's proof you're behind on the actual work. And then you see that third bar, the actual cost, it's the highest of them all. That tells you you've spent way more than you planned and more than the completed work is even worth. In one simple chart, you see the whole problem. You're behind schedule and over budget. But, seeing the problem is only half the battle. Knowing you're off track is one thing, but actually getting back on track, that's a whole different ballgame. So how do you take control when things start to go sideways? Let's use a classic construction scenario. The truck with your steel beams is stuck somewhere, and every single day it's late, your whole timeline gets pushed back further and further. This right here is where a great manager proves their worth. So, what's the game plan? You follow a simple but really powerful process. First, you're monitoring progress constantly, so you know the very second those beams are late. Step 2, you identify the variance. You see the schedule slipping, and you can calculate the impact. Then, step 3, and this is the most critical part, you take corrective action. Can you speed up other tasks? Can you bring in more workers? Or maybe find an alternate supplier? The point is, you don't just watch the problem happen. You get in there and you solve it. And this quote just hits the nail on the head. All that data and measurement, those are your instruments. But making the tough calls, adjusting the plan based on what that data is telling you, that is the true art of great project management. Thankfully, you're not trying to do all this with just a pencil and paper anymore. Let's take a quick look at the digital toolkit that modern project managers use to make all of this happen way more seamlessly. These are pretty much your essentials. Gantt charts give you that amazing bird's eye view of your entire project timeline. Dashboards, which you'll find in software like Procore, give you real-time KPIs, cost, schedule, safety, all at a glance. And then you've got project management software like Asana that helps you manage every single little detail, from material deliveries to inspections. So the key takeaway here is that these tools aren't just for tracking things, they're for acting on things. They transform what could be an overwhelming flood of information into clear, actionable insights so you can make the right call at exactly the right time. All right, let's bring it all home. We have covered a lot of ground, from theory to tools. So what's the ultimate blueprint for success that you should walk away with? Here it is, plain and simple. First, always anchor your performance measurement in those triple constraints: time, cost, and scope. Second, use a proven system like earned value management to get a totally honest assessment of where you stand. Third, never be passive. The second you see a problem, act. And finally, use the amazing digital tools out there to make this entire process faster, easier, and more accurate. You know, in the end, it's this active control that truly defines an exceptional project manager. I mean, anyone can follow a plan when everything is going perfectly. It's the ability to steer the ship through a storm that really makes all the difference. So, I'll leave you with this question to think about. Based on everything we've just talked about, what is the single most important metric? Maybe it's a cost variance, a schedule milestone, or a quality check. What's the one thing you can start tracking tomorrow to make a real, tangible difference on your project? Thanks for tuning in.